this is the second exercise that I'd like you to do before doing assignment number 2. This one's about the grid, which turns out to be a really important and useful concept for drawing from direct observation. What I've done here is take the little drawing that I was using for the previous video and remove 1/4 of it. Fold it like this, fold it like that, and now I have a blank, smaller piece. So if you fold something in half and then in half again this way, and you take this 1/4, it actually ends up having the same proportions as the original sheet. And that's extremely important for what we're about to do. In days before photography and projection devices and such, people who were trying to figure out how to organize images and how to move a drawing from a small piece of paper to a large canvas or to the wall of a building, came up with this idea of the grid, which turns out to be, as I said, useful for drawing, not merely for its ability to help you to make a small drawing big, but also because of ways that it helps you to see the arrangement of shapes in front of you and to place them in the proper relationship to each other, in the same relationship that they're observed from your point of view onto a flat piece of paper. So I'm going to take this little piece of paper and I'm going to fold it into a grid. Got to get the corners to line up as best you possibly can, and if you really were serious about this, you'd want to be quite precise. And this is also something you can do with a ruler, and lines rather than fold. So I'm folding it halfway in that direction. I'm folding it halfway in this direction. So now, again, I've got 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, but they're in the same proportions. Although that part isn't so critical when you're copying a drawing. What you need is a consistent grid from the original location to the destination location. So I'm gonna fold this again. I hope you can see these folds on the video. And this could be drawn with lines and a ruler and actually draw on the sheet. So now we have 8 boxes. Let's go further. I'm going to even take, I can do it, one more fold on each side. This is a little tricky because, whoops, I'm tearing it. But for our demonstration purposes, that's not going to be a problem. Would be a problem if it was a drawing you were trying to preserve. But the fact is, you wouldn't fold or even probably draw a grid on a drawing that you are actually trying to preserve. You're kind of sacrificing the gridded drawing in order to make another drawing. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 gridded boxes. Okay, and we would need to have exactly the same grid on our similarly proportioned destination. So we're going to make those folds here as well, halfway across, half in this direction, and half again if I can do it. And here, I'm trying to rush things a bit, but let's see how we did. Okay, so we've got the same grid. These could stand to be sharper edges, but we've got the same grid, 16 blocks on both of these, right? Now, very important anytime that you're copying using a grid, not only do the proportions of the original and the destination need to be the same, but the orientation needs to be the same. If you were to try and copy from here into here, you'd end up stretching and distorting your image. So I'm just gonna make a quick little drawing, you know, of these sort of blobby forms for our demonstration purposes. And you can draw whatever. You could draw a little cartoon face or, you know, really anything, but stick with just line at this point. You're just drawing with line, not shadows or anything else. And again, this is a preparation for another one that's going to be slightly more elaborate. That's the actual assigned drawing. So if you do draw something that is like a picture, like you draw a face or something, then I recommend that you actually copy it upside down, and that's what you're going to be doing in assignment 2. So the point of the grid for copying purposes is that it cuts up the drawing into smaller chunks, which makes it easier to copy. So if I were to just look at this upper left corner, maybe even try and make the rest of it kind of go away. So I'm just looking at that upper left corner. And not sure that's going to be completely possible here. Yeah, it's a little awkward. I'll just stop there. But I'm looking at this part. Again, I'll try and dramatize by filling in like this rectangle corresponds to this rectangle. Remember, this is the upper left corner of your copy. And so instead of having to deal with all of those blobby shapes at once, I'm just having to think about, where does this line fall? How far down the edge? How far down? How far up from the bottom? Down from the top? Does it fall? Maybe starts around there. Maybe a little further down. How far across? It's a little further than halfway that I see where it crosses the bottom. And it kind of goes up almost straight, then suddenly takes this angle, right? So here we've got an approximation of that. And now we've taken care of this, 1/16 of our copy. And so if you do that, and please do, and go from one square to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, you'll see that you'll make a fairly persuasive, pretty accurate copy of this at a larger scale. So that's the exercise now. Please do that.